I want to emphasize some of the things that you have just said. And before giving the floor to the next speakers, I just want to give some additional information. I think that one of the reasons why we are organizing this, and I say we because it's in close cooperation, a close cooperation between the European Parliament and the European Cancer Patient Coalition, is because we have to take into account that patients must come first in all health policies. And in the cancer domain, it is most important, even as you mentioned, 1 in 3 of the European citizens are affected by cancer. So in terms of research, we need to tackle a lot of difficult issues, but we have to take it also as opportunities in order to improve our action, and we do have responsibilities for sure. There are several dimensions, and I think that despite some successes in some cancers, we know that the great majority of cancers are still untreatable today. So that's one of the points why we should focus and emphasize in terms of cancer research. And we also have the problem of fragmentation and of cancer research. We know that in Europe it is largely fragmented, so this is also an equality issue. I think all European citizens should have the same rights and same conditions of access of treatment and of dealing with their disease. And so we need also to improve that cooperation, not only in terms of research, but also in terms of treatment and in terms of prevention. All these dimensions are linked. So we need that, we know that by definition, European Union and Europe is heterogeneous, and there are a lot of differences. But I think also these differences and this heterogeneity can provide a creative force in order to articulate and in order to cooperate and have more collaboration in terms of the cancer research. And the mechanisms needed to be taken into place and allowed to support this sort of heterogeneity in terms, and then therefore convert it to the different dimensions of research, not only the horizontal but also vertical approaches in this domain. So we have already some European regulation. We need to work more on that. You have just mentioned a lot of the instruments that we have in our hands, but we should emphasize the need for networks to coordinate the research, the different countries, funders, the researchers, and try to concentrate our European research expertise on key priorities. And we have to define it, so that's why we are also here today in order to identify these priorities. So I think we cannot do this and define this without talking with those who are more affected, and those are the patients. And we have to also try to deal with these unbalanced situations that we have, not only between member states, within member states, but also in terms of the type of research we have and the funding we have. We know that on average about 5% of total cancer research funding is spent on investigating metastases, although we know that metastatic disease is the direct or indirect cause of 90% of all the cancer deaths. So that's an unbalanced way, and we need also to articulate it with prevention and monitoring, and I think it's important to take into account. So we need a better description of the cancer burden, and that's something that the European Union can contribute for sure. And we also need a better description of the risk factors in the population, and we also need more collaboration research and take into account not only genetic research, but also the environmental factors associated research and fundamental research, which are the poor dimensions in terms of the research.